Hi guys, my name is Robin. I am also known as Dencri, and I am joining you this evening as part of the Amtgard Academy. You know, with the degree that I have, I shouldn't be tripping over this, but with the Amtgard Arts Academy to try and show you guys how to make quick and easy wax seals. So, this is gonna stink a little bit only because it's like I'm gonna fly by the seat of my pants. My experience in doing this before, what I did was basically I decided that I wanted to make coins for a coronation that I was running here at Blightstone Hallow, which is my home park in Paradox Gold in Goldvale. And in my doing that, I decided, no, I'm not really going to look online as for what to do. So I basically went and my table out of the way, decided I was going to make these two-sided coins. I was hoping that would protect out of play. So that one and the other one, kind of signifying the two dragons that I had that were fighting this thing. So what I ended up doing was obviously making these. I took plaster and filled up, obviously, cardboard tubes, which I would suggest highly against using, and then let it set. Now, it took a long time for it to set because I had to sweat all of the fluid and water basically out of the cardboard tube. Not really super helpful. And on top of that, because I used plaster, you end up with a lot of little, you probably can't see perfectly, there's little air pockets in that, all of it. And I just used that. On top of that, massive plus belt sander in the basement, flatten this out, and make it a lot less deep, because initially they were doing something set as nice as so, these were my finished products, which were, trial run, first attempt at this sort of thing, and they weren't terribly great. I mean, obviously a little light, my apologies for that, but there's definitely some air pockets going on in this, but they served their purpose. They were little tokens that I made out of Sculpey and handgun. Of course, I usually wanted to do like 4 or 5 other things to them, but that was just much of the time. So what I'm doing today, dumbing that down tenfold. There's a couple different ways I'm going to show you to do things, but one of the easiest ways is taking things like you might have already, albeit a little beads, have some definitions or charms. Balance them most of the time. Trying to stay small and weird. And still there. And just basically what we're going to do is imprint those onto basically a Sculpey rod. You can take that rod, bake it for the time allotted, which should be probably a little bit over 15 minutes because you're going to go over the size of bake suggestion time, which is I think 15 minutes per quarter-inch thickness. Quarter-inch thickness. The instructions are and everything are right on Sculpey themselves. So if I double check this, I haven't done this one. Where in my tiny pitch doesn't bring that. Yeah, like they're 275 degrees, 15 minutes per quarter inch. I remember things. Yay! Googling before I did stuff. But yeah, we're gonna do it simply, and then we'll talk about actually trying to open it up. We'll talk about actually trying to sculpt something like this from scratch, kind of like what I did with you guys. Okay, first things first, I'm going to get a higher up table. So, boxes everywhere. Yep. What happens when you limited space? Okay, so what we're gonna do, go this up here. I specifically chose smaller size pendants solely because then I don't have to take or use all the Sculpey that I have on hand. And wax seals, the bigger you can get more detail and stuff in them, but they can also get a little bit distracting, or the detail won't stick. So sometimes you want to keep them. But let's start with this first. So in this case, easy first thing, try and keep the clay warm enough, which thankfully is how session, trying to put it into a nice even bond. Thankfully, this is not a suggestion motion at all. No one would like this. Okay. So what I'm going to actually do is break the glue into 2 pieces, just so I can get some more out of it. My apologies if this is looking much like this. I'm just trying to show how it looks. I'm actually going to take my nice flat surface on my desk and force it into a flatter shape. You can spend more time on actually getting this to a nice, more than weird, orbit looking sound. If you want.
Did I throw that out? I don't remember. I think I did. So lame.
Okay, so.
Hello.
By the way, if you're joining, please mute, so it can be a little less confusing for the video feed. I can't tell when I'm live or not. I see everyone else moving. Okay. I wish I had some way of polling everyone. Be like, hey, so what one do you think I should try and make out of the charms I showed? Anyone want to say in chat? Anyone want a choice? We have a wolf, stone crossbones, a couple different spells, and a handkerchief. The tutorial that exists online, if you actually Google this, there is a pretty decent YouTube video that goes through kind of how to do this and does it in less of a master it now. So I'll do that. I'm going to take this case because Mr. Dashing has suggested that I try the wolf. Okay, better angle there. So great stuff. There's the wolf card. Currently, just lightly stuck on the bottom of this. And I'm going to actually take it now and just kind of smush it down more on my harder surface, my flat surface, to try and get shape. Now, this is not going to be the best charm for this simply because it is shaped a lot, and in this case has at the top of it. I think the YouTube video that I mentioned actually suggests taking it and removing it, but I'm going to cheat and actually just like back into it. So, try this out. It's really bad. Oh, that looks like a wolf with a circle coming out of its face. More or less. Ah! I wish my camera was dynamic. Sorry, guys. So, that is basically the light version of how that looks. Take some of my extra clay and try and fill in that hole. So, somehow I'm going to try not to leave a fingerprint live for a moment. I might put this. I'm actually going to take this nice one that I had a nice pointed thing. If you don't have something like this, you can take this perfect. And if you have the kind of color where you can go back in and fix working on like your something shape behind it and texture. Right now, we'll just start smoothing out some bits that I saw that pulled my charm out. In order to try something that's a little bit more flat, says Carl and yours. On top of that, not sure how this is going to turn out to like anything. Flatten this one more time. It's a nice part about having something other than this box here, the table, disc, that I can actually go back and press it back down. Because right now, if I was to try and probably do something, do this in wax, which is a light copper, you can see right here where I went and added. Right here, just a little bit of the crease, and that would pick up the wax. Trying to go back in and smooth that out. I would suggest using a tool over using your fingers because it does, like I mentioned, like a mark.
Can you pause for just a second? There's a lot of white noise, Robin, where you're at, like, and it's very hard to hear you.
Fine.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah. As much as I was avoiding trying to commit to a shape of my face, yeah, headset. That'll work better.
I got one too, so don't worry.
So, yeah.
Mine's Bluetooth and it looks prettier though.
Give me just 1 second. I'm going to shift my audio over so you're not hearing yourselves too. Okay.
Okay.
Now I can hear anything that anyone says better. I think. Maybe. 2 seconds. Okay. So, this is a very rough one, in my opinion. Right now, if I was to do that as a seal, it would not be nice and circular. It would be that kind of lump around. Actually, I'm bored. I'm going to do something to this. I just saw how cool that silhouette looks. I'm actually going to go back and shape a moon. This is what you would call subtractive sculpture, simply because I'm taking something that's there and trying to remove it. Again, not 100% sure how this is going to turn out, but I think it would be kind of a cool thing to add on. Maybe not. The nice part about clay. Let's just close that back up. That weird little crescent moon I tried to put in there, and yeah. My apologies, I wish I'd had some more time today to actually have some of these made ahead of time, so I could actually show you guys and see how easy it might be to try and light myself on fire with a candle. Anyway. Still just needs a little bit of clay. This is a ridiculously tiny thing I'm trying to work and add into, because the snout is still just a little too big, and you guys can't perfectly see it. You see a shadow of white. Apologies. For this I would need a better camera, and I have a video camera or web camera from 5 years ago, which is bad. Oh god, no, when I was in college, it's even worse. So, this should get that more into the shape of that little space. And I keep bringing it over to the table and flattening it back out again, just to try and get the inherent little tool marks out of it, which isn't working perfectly, but it's doing it somewhat. Now, you don't necessarily have to spend the time trying to finish this off like I am. If you try and do this, I am simply doing this because I am that nitpicky. Also because I know that this could look a bit better. Okay. The other thing that I'm realizing is that where the wolf's front leg is, that you can see, is a little bit deep. And that's kind of recess isn't going to work in this case. So I actually have to go back in there and pull the leg out this way just a little bit to open it up, because otherwise it's just going to leave wax in the seal. So if you actually go to get pendants, it would be the sort of thing where you want to go get the flattest thing possible to use. Try to smooth this out some. I feel the need to be music right now. Everyone's gonna hear me blab! Yay! Everyone listen to me talk on around. Is anyone hoping to follow along with this out of curiosity? Yes, Dashing, you do hear me blab quite a bit of the time. But that's because you're from my home park, so that sucks for you. Okay. So, what I want to do, what I should have probably done in the first place, was make sure that this was nice and circular. Now that we have a decent wolf shape there, I'm going to actually go and try to reverse engineer this, which is not going to work. So, I'm going to actually try and mark off my edges to try and keep them consistent and then kind of chop them off. If anyone wants to stay in the chat past this point, past when I finish this kind of off, I'm going to do another one and actually try and do it with a little bit more thought than this last one, of course, because this one's kind of rush job. What I'm trying to do is get there to actually be a circle going into this and not a blob of death. Because who wants to look at a blob? I mean, the rest of the aesthetics of the whole thing is not what I'm worried about right now as much as the aesthetic of the finished product, which is, in this case, the wax seal. By the way, if you have Sculpey, this amount of clay that I have is pretty much about one little stick's worth, because the Sculpey is typically broken up into those 4 pieces. I'm just rounding this off into as much of a circular pattern as I can. Of course, if I thought more, I could have actually used my PVC that I brought for an example for other things as a shape tool. Hey, look at that. Hey, what do you know? Sometimes things work. Let's see if I can pull this out without destroying anything. Okay. Now that I have forced a cat hair into that, I'm just going to flatten this out one more time to try and get the edges a bit sharper. I think, now that I have a circle that I kind of like, other than that edge, that's pretty much what I'm going to go with. So, what you're basically doing when you're making a seal, because I didn't say this before, is a reverse of the image that you're trying to actually make. In this case, it's going to be that little wolf leading up to him howling. And what we're going to do right now, as I look at it, is I'm going to actually try making another one that is actually shaped properly before I go into it. So, we're going to, for the heck of it, I'm going to try and make a nice circular shape first, because that's what I was trying to say before. And I'm going to use one of the bigger skull that I have. That's a stone bead, because it's going to work differently, because it's a round bead and not more of a flat charm that you can press everything down on. Now, I will also try to post the main class that I see everyone using for this sort of thing online as well, so people can find that without having to look for it. Not that it's not hard to Google. Here, let me Google this for you, sort of situation. Apparently I need more clay. That. Hard part about adding clay later is you get these annoying folds into everything, so you end up having to mush it all the way back in and trying to rotate those lovely creases back out. Okay. Let's see.
Robin,
Yes.
while you do that, I've got some stuff I can share. Some stuff I've made myself with clay.
Cool.
Yeah. I made this some time ago. It's actually clay, and I impressed it with diamonds, the gems and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. It's actually pretty thick too. I made that some time ago. I never used it. And then I did this. The sword handle. I didn't like it, but it was pretty cool anyway. So I baked it. And then I made the actual one for a sword.
Very nice.
Right here.
Yep.
So modeling clay is not that hard to work with. For people who are nervous or anything, don't be. It's a lot of fun. I have a whole box of this stuff that that I play with from time to time. A friend of mine made necklaces for all the government members. I have done something like this, but it was for a mold for a necklace, a pendant necklace of mine. Sadly, I can't find either the necklace or the mold, so I couldn't show you that. But it is a lot of fun. I have a toaster oven specifically dedicated to that that I can use, and my friend Carolyn's actually running an invite for Bell Hallow up here in Brantford, Canada, so that we can do a modeling clay day. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a very useful medium. It can very easily look chintzy sometimes, but if you treat it like clay and slow down a little bit in your creation, you can end up with some stuff that's actually pretty cool. Now let's see if I can actually... forming this ahead of time, decided to stick it into my circle so I actually had that shape. Let's see if I can actually get it released from it. There we go. So now I actually have more of a circle to start with rather than what I did backwards last time. So now I'm going to try and flatten this out a little bit more again over here. It's going to be easier just kind of dropping it to try and get the any of the creases and stuff out of the way. Oh, another thing when it comes to these, I'm realizing I should do that with this one. There's a definite top and a definite bottom. So always good to figure where your orientation is and actually be like, okay, so this is the top. You can either put an arrow at the top or something a little bit more directional or just even a little notch around the edge. But I'm actually putting an arrow flat into the top of that saying this is up. So you don't go stamp and it's like, hey, my stamp was upside down. What the crap? Okay, so now that this is pretty well evened out for the most part, it's mostly flat. I say as I go and do it more and make it less circular. I'm going to stop because clay does the thing where you need to do it over and over and over again, poking it. So this is my little stone skull bead. And actually take it and place his face right dead center, and shove. Now, admittedly, I don't want to go too much farther than that, because any deeper you're going to end up with something that you don't really want, or you're going to have to put so much wax down, it's kind of ridiculous. So, I can actually see if I can pry this out without ruining anything. Is that far enough in both sides for my teeth? Yes. Okay. Ooh, this is where my lovely poke tool works very well for sticking it right back into that bead hole and prying it out. There we go. Oh my gosh. Detail in that is pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys can actually see the teeth, but the teeth actually came out highly defined. Just because this is actually almost better to use in this case than the wolf one was. And honestly, like, the skull and crossbones would have worked pretty well too, because it has a very flat backside. So if this is something that you want to do and you're not going to actually make the what you're going to impress by hand prior, you're going to want to try and grab something that you don't have to dig out and fuss around with. And that's what the skull bead was, something you don't have to fuss with. As I start fussing with it. I'm actually going to be a little bit more interested in how this is going to work, because instead of just leaving this a circular pattern like this one is, I'm actually going to take this after I mark my top, like that, kind of, Again, in this case, the final look of the whole thing is the craftsmanship part, not the tool you're using. And what we're doing is actually making tools. Okay, so you got that. I'm actually going to go back in and detail the sides of it, because since it's a skull, it's like, why not make this look a little bit like a coin? So I'm going to take my favorite tool here, or let me see if I've got... I have a number of clay tools, and most of these are actually from a figure sculpting class in college. So let me just look at these right quick as I move everything. Some of them are severely less used. And these, like, you can buy these for easily under $10. Simple wooden clay crafting tools with all different sides. You know, you have the poke tool that I've been using quite a bit. And you see I use quite a bit because it's dyed red like that other Sculpey. And this one's got a little bit of a taper. And other ones for digging holes into items and shaping things outwards. This one still has clay on it from an entirely other project. Wow. These are well used. As an example, I also have more of them. I got excited because these ones actually have metal tools with them. So if you're actually using like more sculpting type clay, actual clay, like stone clay, less polymer clay, that is what you would be using. Okay, so I'm actually going to take my more bladed looking tool here, this one, and I'm going to kind of chop back into this with a little bit of texture. And this is actually interesting. Always good to pause and look at your tools before you lay them down, because these are wood, there's one spot in this that's nice and thin, and the other parts are not so much. So that's what I'm going to try and do, is keep putting that same spot onto my tool here. I'm actually going to do this the right way. Just put the quadrants on this first, and then kind of go from the middle outwards so that everything is even. So there's my 4 marks in that case. And then I divide each of those in half. And then have it again. This is not perfect either. I'm actually going to go back in and try and put some more into this, just because it gives it interesting texture when it's shoved into clay or wax. But and now I'm going into too much detail. Look at me go. This is a curse when you have these tools. So what went from very generic marks to very much smaller hatch marks on the sides of this. Every now and then I have to see if I'm actually on the camera doing this or not, or if I'm like way over off to one side, so my apologies. I do not have a very good heads-up display for this currently. I'm just happy I have desk space. So this might have just gotten a little bit more fine than intended, but that is okay. And suddenly uneven, but c'est la vie. I swear I only have a third of this left. The cool part is this one, honestly, because of the detail in the teeth, it almost looks like a sugar skull. So I almost feel like the burst out of this could almost make it look like a poppy head. It actually looks a lot cooler than I thought it was going to. And that texture should pick up pretty nicely when you put the stamp down. So, that's the basics of how to make them with just what you have at hand. there are... If this was an actual class, I would actually pause and have people try to design something to make out of the clay, out of what they have, or like if they have a personal heraldry that they want to work backwards. One of the things I would suggest doing is actually taking Sculpey and deciding what you want that to look like and working that backwards. Now what I mean by that is actually going and doing what I did with the coins here. And actually this is, by the way, this is cheap.
We lose her?
I guess. I got kicked out once too myself.
I just jumped out and jumped back in, hopefully. Thinking
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did too. Just give her a few minutes, you know.
No problem.
Hey, Mike.
Hey. Been here the whole time.
Yeah, I know.
Don't want,
I saw that.
so just turn off my camera. No one needs to see that.
I don't honestly care. I tried making one of these stampers, except I did it the other way. I put the logo on the bottom of the stamp, raised up, instead of in the stamp, and it was terrible. It didn't work at all. And then I threw it away, so I don't even have it anymore.
Well, now the Kingdom Regent is showing us her way.
King of Regents? Is that what you said?
Kingdom Regent.
Oh, Kingdom. Kingdom. Okay. I didn't hear that the first time.
Again,
Okay.
I am eating.
Yeah. She probably doesn't even realize she got kicked off either. Kind of funny. This is only the second one I've done on these things. They're kind of cool.
I made something similar. I entered it into ANS. And I was really sad because I made it out of, like, I carved it out of basically, like, a big eraser, so like laminating stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And I made a thing for it, and then I put it in a box. I used the box that I spent, and then I did, like, a little leather thing on it, and I gave it, and I explained it. There's, like, a huge, like, little write-up, which none of the judges actually read. And I had, like, wax in it, so you wax seals, and I had an ink pad in it, so you could do ink paint, like, you could
Like a, yeah, like a whole
and
kit,
they're
almost.
like, this leather thing is nice. And I'm like, did you even open the box?
Robin's internet died. She'll be right back. She's restarting her computer, she says.
Oh man, that sucks.
Unfortunately.
Here, weather. And the internet.
How was it looking?
Yeah, shit happens.
Kelly, I don't want to make any more crown calls.
Don't make any crowd no phone calls. I mean, you should.
Come be a motivational serpent knight.
I have 10 entries for this crown call coming up. Maybe 11 if I put in my last one I just found today.
Oh, put in more. Why not?
Here, I'll show you what I was making.
All the crafting.
Yeah.
I do.
Are you still working on that glove?
I don't. I decided I hated the glove. But yeah. I like the idea of it. Damn. Okay. So, this is just a welding glove. that I bought from Harbor Freight, and then I decided to make it look like bark. That's cool because I have a little bark thing. This is a bracer that I have that is like bark that I made.
Oh,
and so
that's
it's a
cool.
thing. But I don't like this. Like, I don't like this design. This design looks weird. It kind of looks like a pot leaf to me. If I don't, it's supposed to be like the elven leaf thing, but it doesn't really go with the rest of it. And so today, because Harbor Freight is right across the street from my work, and on my lunch break, I went and bought another pair of gloves, and now I'm dyeing them green because it's green and brown. The whole set will be. So that's what I'm doing for no real reason too. It's great.
Alright.
What are you making? Show me.
The kid. Me?
Okay. When you get back, I want to see your chronicles.
Well, you saw the jar, right?
Yeah, the cool little Fimo jar. I didn't see the end of it though. That's cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that is cool.
There's the back. Window.
Hey, new headband done.
Ooh, there's that, and then I'm working on this
Yeah, I wondered what that was.
coat.
Ooh.
Let me untangle myself here. It's going to have sleeves.
Very nice.
I'm debating half sleeves or full sleeves, but either way, it's going to have sleeves. It's going to have grommets down the front so that it can be laced up. I have to finish the inside seams. I have to put grommets in, and I have to put sleeves on.
Nice.
And then I am making... Ouch! Then I am doing this.
I have that pattern. I've done that a few times now.
I'm making chocolate-covered cheesecake on a stick.
Mm.
And 4 is as far as I've gotten. I have till the 6th. It's fine. I'll totally be done in time.
Mommy,
Bedtime.
High School Musical original. I'm gonna stay up just for.
You absolutely cannot stay up. You have school tomorrow. Not a chance in hell. Sorry. Alright, I'll be back.
Okay, no problem. Cute. I swear, how many times my mom said that to me when I was a kid growing up? My gosh.
No way. You are not staying up. Yay, Robin's back.
Now back.
Yay! You're back! Yay!
It's great when the IT professional has their computer give them a blue screen of death.
Oh my god, I hate those!
I haven't had one of those in like 15 years.
I see at least one a damn week.
Oh, I get maybe once a month.
They're not my computers though, so it doesn't quite matter. Michael, you got a lot of white noise going on around you?
Yeah, I already muted him once. There we go. Thanks, bud. You say hi?
Okay, so.
My baby. Say hi. Okay, bye.
Yeah, my cat visited me as I was trying to set up. It's like, I can't figure out where things are. Go away. Sorry. Okay, so. What I was trying to get into was, before I got rudely kicked off by my computer finally slowly starting to die, instead of using Sculpey for these bits that I did before, this is actually a polymer clay. So, the sort of thing that, you deal polymer clay. Modeling clay, it's basically everything that you used to play with as a kid. It's Play-Doh. It's just literally cheap modeling clay, right like that. And it worked pretty well. I mean, it was entertaining to just leave them sitting in that state for so long, but it was real easy to see how if I didn't pay attention to the thickness of the sides when you do this sort of thing, you end up with an uneven sculpt, which is why with that one and the both of them actually, I went back in with the belt sander to clear them all off and trying to even them out. And every time I did that, I'd find more air bubbles because I was using plaster. So it's something I'm going to try and do again, but I'm going to, for one, do them in a much smaller scale and actually use the PVC that I've been using for shaping as my base. And as was said earlier, Um, when it comes to releasing stuff like this, it does help to try and put stuff down. I had actually put talc down initially, and if you look at, unfortunately, it doesn't, in my case, it doesn't work perfectly well because some of the Sculpey actually picked up some of the powder and held it. But I mean, these were just easy, well, extremely complicated. Ooh, look, I got rid of one of the air bubbles. Isn't that nice? That's the other thing about air bubbles. They might just be tenuously on there. So take them off. Anyway, okay. So, talking about this and making your own seals. I made a faux seal for my belted brother's Earl scroll, which was a piece of red Sculpey about, honestly, probably about that big, with one of the symbols from Warhammer on it, the Inquisition's symbol, I believe, and that was kind of fun. And from there, I was like, you know, this is something that needs to be done more often. So what I'm going to try and do right now is actually build out something like that again. So start with a ball of clay, and you're going to do your best. You could actually probably, I wouldn't say rolling pin unless you have a really good rolling pin. I have something nice and flat and pretty sturdy. Yes. Ignoring the fact that this is a knife box, I'm going to actually take this and switch my camera down. Flatten. Realize I'm pushing down on a cardboard box. Also not perfect, but a lot easier than trying to drop to the ground to show you stuff, which I'm going to do anyhow. Bring this back up. I'm about to remove my half table from this experience because it's more in the way than anything. Okay. Just realized some of the other things I have around that could be entertaining as repurposed bits of seal or used for texture. If you had like a circle that you wanted to start with, actually, that was something I meant to mention before. If you had multiple items that you wanted to give some depth to, like a pre-made seal, like we were doing with the charms, you could easily do that. Like, if you had, I actually have some charms that are arrows and you wanted to make a la Ancash go across a couple of arrows, you could easily do that. You just have to make sure that you, when you press the added bits in over the top of what you've already placed, that you don't press them in too far, or press them down so much that you destroy everything. As a base for what? Thick towel rod as a base of what? Sorry, I'm just catching up to what's being said, Kelly. As a base for the work, or the base for the actual seal?
For the base for the actual seal, like you just cut a bit and sand it, and then you don't have to use like a cardboard or any clay other than the actual stuff on the bottom.
I've thought about it. It's the sort of thing where it's like, okay, so pretending this is a piece of wood, it's like, okay, if I do that, I would, I'm sure actually that would be an interesting class to try and teach, where people probably cut their hands up to pieces, actually doing it traditionally, where you actually take that piece of wood and carve into it, because that's a lot of what people did back then, other than like metalworking and having signet rings that they would literally slap down onto their stuff.
That's what I tried to do with this symbol in a piece of wood. I don't have the original because I threw it away, but that was the symbol I tried to carve into. The only problem I came with was trying to get the wax. Was when I pressed the into the wax, it didn't come up. It all got stuck inside the seal, and it didn't work. So I gave up on it.
I think the instructions that the YouTube thing I'm thinking of, and the easiest way to find the right YouTube thing, is that she uses an, I can't remember if it's she or he now, because I only skimmed it. She actually uses a owl charm as her thing, and it actually turns out really nice, and it releases very nicely. And I think she does use something, obviously, between the two. There are probably materials that lift nicer than others. In my case,
Cooking spray.
Cooking spray? Yeah, that would make sense.
Spray on cooking spray.
Because
someone told me a vegetable oil.
Yep, all of those lovely things that are typically water resistant, I would think, or repellent, not resistant. Not exactly what I was going for.
Also, you want to make sure that you don't have any undercuts in your piece. So, like, when the wax comes in, it doesn't go like this and go, I'm going to stick with it. It just goes, okay, out.
That's exactly what I was trying to point out in the wolf in the front arm.
Mm-hmm.
That's down. It kind of does have a little bit of that. Actually, it has a lot of that now that I'm looking at it. So I'm going to actually get my poker tool again and clear that out a little bit more. Just because I did use something that does, if you look at one side, recedes a little bit on the other side. So it's not really perfect for this, or in this case. But yeah, you want to... it's like if you're trying to do a cast for a mask or a cast for really anything, if you don't actually break it down properly, you'll not have seams in the right place to be able to get that part off and around whatever thing that you made 3D. Or it's just not going to work. Like, I did a plaster piece in college that I had sculpted a face, this part of a face, and I had to break it into threes, or I did something strange where I actually broke it, like, here, to try and get the parts off. Nothing across the nose happened to be fine, and it just broke off, like, there. I could find it if people wanted me to, but I'll do that after the whole presentation. Okay.
Sure, I'll look at your stuff. I'm going to stop being not muted. I'm going to mute myself.
I know, it's the awkward thing where it's like, I'm talking this time, and everyone has to listen to me. It's really quiet. What do I do? Keep talking. Okay, keep talking. So, what I wanted to try and do... Where's my paper? So I was actually going to try, and I took this from our Golden Veil page. It was Alex's alterization of Sparky, our lovely Golden Veil Griffin. I'm actually taking that idea and I'm going to try shaping that into the clay a little bit. I'm not going to spend much time doing this because no one's going to really want to watch me do this, but in this case you can do it one of two ways. You can either... Actually, you know what? I'm just going to flat draw it like I'm drawing into something, so we end up with where my lines are going to be instead of them being... Obviously, I'm pushing it in, so we're going to actually have it coming out in the seal. So I'm going to actually just flat draw right into this with my pokey one. Oh no, here it is. This is what I get. Okay, so I'm going to be going to try to not get in my own way so you guys can see. Or kind of, honestly what I'm doing is just trying to follow along the shape. I've already lost my place. Oh no! It's going to be a terribly beaky monstrosity I'm making. Yep. I'm drawing beaks as I draw beaks, which is ginormous. So I'm just going to rough sketch this really quick. Rough emboss this? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. That's that. I'm going to go down, finish that part of the beak. And I can show you how that looks in just a little bit here. I'm just getting some of the last bits of detail. Right now it's pretty much just going to be, I'm going to lift this up and show you guys a beak. Because that is where I started, and I ran out of space. Just like with drawing, one needs to pay attention to where you start, and so you know where you are going to end. Let's get an eyeball in here. Actually, this looks kind of cool. I mean, it will look bad if I was just going to leave it like this, but it looks pretty cool kind of right now. And I'll show you why it would be bad to leave it like this. So, my rough goings on here, because it's so hard to tell. Okay. Looks like a bunch of lines, right? Looks great. Trying to focus on his beaky face with those thick lines. Now, as you can see, if you do stuff like this, you end up with a lot of scrap clay sticking up. So, what you want to do is actually go back into the lines if you're going to do it this way and flatten it back down. try and get some of that shape back out of it. Or, my favorite lazy thing, this. Which is not great. It's just going to leave lumps. But yeah. So you can do something easy like this to just kind of get some lines in, and you're not going to end up with as much definition unless you actually go and build things up like I did with, that's the finished product, with the clay here. I'm not going to sit here and keep doing something like this. If you have questions or if you want to try to do something like this, I will happily post up something else and post it over to the Amtgard Arts Academy page to not feel like I'm blathering on. Maybe if I'll actually edit something together, it's like, here, this is what I started, this is how it looked a couple seconds later, and this is the technique I use, instead of, I don't know what I'm doing right now, and that's kind of how it looks. Does look like a face, maybe, kind of. Yay, okay. I'm going to stop blathering. So this is what you want to, if you want to make your own thing, you can do something like this. You can build it up, add clay to actually get the form. Make sure you have an even thickness going around here, because when you go and, in my case, reshape it, I'm going to take my lovely piece of PVC, which is not as big as I want it to be for this. That's what happens when I buy things for other projects and steal them for other projects. Let's see how this turns out. It's funny looking when I look into it there. It's nothing. Okay. I was just not doing it this way, by the way, because now I have to shove something into it to get it to pop back out. I'm going to use my poke. A spot that's in a line and shove. This is why I don't do it that way. But yeah. So making your own stuff is pretty cool, and it works really well until you shove your tools through the actual clay. Yeah. Don't really have too much to teach at this point. Everyone likes showing off their stuff. So I'd like to open it up to people if they have any questions or any ideas or opinions that they would like to share with this, now that I was really happy with that and destroyed it. Damn.
I liked it. You were blathering. It's okay. You're blathering on and on. Like, you're supposed to be talking. It's okay. It's okay to talk when you're a teacher.
This is why I didn't try to do this sort of thing.
It's good blather. It's okay.
It's good blather. I am willing to make fun of myself. Listen to me do so. La 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 la.
But no, thank you for showing up and teaching a class and you putting more stuff out there. Yay, new things.
Always try.
What would you use for the sealing wax for the stamps that you've been making?
Honestly, this is the cheaty part. I haven't done any of the wax seal parts. This is the most what you saw with that I did with coins with Sculpey. That's the farthest I've gotten, and that was with my plaster bits. Wax. There are specific waxes that you can find for this kind of thing. Most of the time, you'll find them in very dark colored, thick bars that you can see. Usually, you know, you can go between candles back and forth, but candle wax is not going to work like actual seal wax.
No, it didn't. I found a recipe online that gave me instructions on how to make it, so I did. You mix candles with regular paraffin wax and you heat them together. You melt them. I tried it. They didn't work, so that's why I'm asking for your opinion.
I'm sure, like, if you even thought about it, you probably could almost do the same thing with crayons.
Sorry?
Crayons? Crayons have a...
yes.
Crayons.
Yeah.
Crayons. Sorry, I don't...
tried it with crayons too. It didn't work.
It didn't work either. That was the one thing that was like, I wish I had had 10 more minutes to actually do some general research as to how seals, you know, existed and were used in the past. I'm actually going to Google real quick to see if there are suggestions on the lines. Yeah, there's lots of course, immediately sealing wax, black color, flexible wicks, like if you Google seal, like literally wax seal, there's the second link for sale that comes up is just a stack of different colored waxes.
Yeah,
me.
I just can't. Yeah, I can't buy online, so I was trying to find like a local provider. But you guys are. I have to remind myself, you guys are in the States. I'm not. So,
Yeah, well, that's when you
some-
find a friend in the States and you ask them to come to an Amtgard event you will also be at.
The Amtgard shipping system is, in fact, alive and well.
Yes. Like, this stuff that I just found is actually pretty cool. Some sealing wax, like flexible, malleable sticks. And it ends up with that nice metallic and marbled flavor. Flavor.
You're not eating it!
Totally go! And you don't do the thing I'm saying. The flavor? What freaking word was I going for? Feeling, flavor, look, aesthetic. How about that?
Yeah, yeah.
It ends up with a very nice marbled look. There's this is
Flavor.
some flavor. It's flavor. You know, like flavor text, because you totally eat flavor text, right?
Just lick it.
You just it's not toxic at all unless the words are bad. Then you're just
It's wax. It's just wax.
Just wax.
You vomit. It's fine. Nothing toxic.
Yeah, I knew someone who used. My friends and my sisters used to eat lip balm, so it can't be that bad.
Oh my god.
She did. Oh, too.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, what you should do is you should get some of those wax lips that you got like Halloween as a child that you all kids would eat anyway, and just use that.
I loosened it up a little bit so your star is all the way on the.
Well, I can adjust that.
It's pretty thick there. Adjust that to there.
I'm trying to flatten out another piece. Just to be like, I'm gonna make skull and crossbones. I have that right here. This is not a shape. I want this to be more of a shape.
I'm making a new archery arm guard out of leather. I have an old piece.
Okay. Robin, if that's the end of the class, I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast, but I'm
Yes.
going to put up another Google Hangout for anybody that wants to come, like, have crafty hangout times.
So we're not.
I have
following
to work on
So we're not-
ground balls, so
Yeah, that's a thing I should do too.
Great.
But
Yeah,
I taught
I am.
today, so.
okay.